Hello everybody, welcome to Murder Monologue. Today we're going to be talking about Jordan Lynn Graham. This story has a crazy ending. Investigators actually believe that there's more to this story than what's actually being told and what they actually went to trial for. And at the end of this video, we're going to talk about the theory the investigators think actually happened versus what was laid out in trial to secure a conviction. They have strong belief that the true story is still untold. So let's dig into this story. It is Friday, June 28th, 2013. Jordan Graham, age 22, and her fiance, Cody Johnson, age 25, are about to get married. They were putting the finishing touches on the big wedding day that they'd been planning for quite a while now. And the big day is coming up tomorrow. Cody and Jordan were having a conversation, and Cody expressed how excited he was to finally get married tomorrow. Jordan told him that she was very nervous about the wedding day and she had the jitters. So Cody was basically trying to console her and say everyone gets nervous on their wedding day. It's very natural. And they just had to get through the next 24 hours and everything would be back to normal. What Cody didn't know was the nervousness that Jordan had was actually downright anxiety. She was scared to death to get married. She wasn't sure if Cody was the right person for her, and she just had severe anxiety about tomorrow. So much so that she was actually having second thoughts about actually walking down the aisle. However, she was too scared to tell Cody because she didn't want to ruin the big day that they had been planning for almost a year now. What gave Jordan even more anxiety was she actually saved herself for marriage, and the thought of having sex on her wedding night was very nerve-wracking. It made her palms start to sweat and her heart race really fast, and this was not in a good way. She was anxious and downright scared for what was going to happen after their wedding. The thought of having sex repulsed her. She didn't want to do it. She was super nervous about it, but she also didn't tell Cody about this. She was downright scared that Cody was going to have a negative reaction to it and not understand that she didn't want to have sex because he's been waiting for over a year as well. And he is super excited about their wedding night because they finally get to tie that knot together. Some mutual friends of Cody and Jordan said that their relationship was very weird. One friend said that Cody put much more into the relationship than Jordan ever did. Cody was madly in love with Jordan, but she never reciprocated any of those feelings. They would never hold hands, they would never kiss. When they had date nights together, Jordan would actually invite one of her friends to be a third wheel just so she didn't have to spend alone time with Cody. Now, some of you might think that this is probably because she was saving herself and didn't want the temptation, but all of their friends said that it was because Jordan just wasn't comfortable around Cody and she really didn't like him the way that Cody liked her. So it was a really weird relationship that they had. Also, many of their friends were in shock when they heard that they got engaged. Most people thought Cody was going to propose and Jordan was actually just going to shoot him down and say no, that she wasn't ready. So everyone was shocked when they found out that she actually said yes and they were planning their wedding. On June 29th, 2013, Cody and Jordan finally did tie the knot. However, the wedding did not go as planned. When Jordan started walking down the aisle to meet Cody at the altar, she was bawling. She was crying so hard and no one understood why. It wasn't tears of joy, it was sobbing. She was crying as hard as someone would cry if they lost a loved one. She was sobbing. She did make her way down the aisle. However, when she actually got to Cody, she took his hand but wouldn't look him in the eye. It was a very awkward situation. The whole time they were up in front of everyone, she never looked him in the eye. Friends and family described the whole wedding as super awkward, and they didn't think Jordan was actually going to go through with it. They thought she was actually going to walk off on the altar and leave Cody hanging there. However, that wasn't the case. Jordan didn't back down on the altar and they did end up getting married that day. During the reception and the dance afterwards, there was one last eerie thing that happened. The song that Jordan and Cody danced to for their first dance was actually written and sang by Jordan. It was her own lyrics. The lyrics were, "You help me to climb higher for a better view. You're my safe place to fall. You never let me go." These lyrics, when they were dancing to it, sounded nice, and No one thought anything of it until later when they realized that those lyrics were actually foreshadowing what was to come. The morning after the wedding, Jordan sent a text to her maid of honor. The text stated, "I don't know if all this was the right thing to do. So much happened last night. I just don't know." Her maid of honor replied, "What happened after the wedding or in the room?" Jordan then said, "Being married and after the wedding." Obviously being curious, her maid of honor just questioned, "Well, what happened after the wedding?" And then Jordan finally ended the conversation by saying, "I'd rather not talk about what happened after in a text. I'd rather talk to you in person." Jordan never did tell her maid of honor what happened after the wedding. All she said was that it was miserable and she cried about it several times. Jordan did state that her and Cody didn't have sex that night because she said she was on her period. She kind of laughed and said, "I'm already making excuses like that." She then said she didn't feel ready and would freak out if Cody tried anything. According to mutual friends of Cody and Jordan, they never did consummate their marriage. Jordan constantly said she didn't feel comfortable, and after a while there was speculation that she was just not attracted to Cody in any way. Like, this isn't a terrible thing. However, don't marry someone then. Like, tell them that before you marry them. If you're not like physically attracted, if you don't want to go through with that, if that's completely fine, just don't get married to the person then. Like, stick up for yourself and back out of the relationship without causing all this craziness. All the speculation and all the uncomfortableness in this relationship would come to a screeching halt just 8 days after the marriage. Cody didn't show up for work on July 8th, which is totally unlike him, so everyone decided to file a missing persons report. Even Jordan told everyone that she hasn't seen Cody since the night of July 7th. On the day the friends and family filed the missing persons report, everyone described Jordan's behavior as upbeat and actually lightened. So everybody was actually kind of confused as to why she was so upbeat and so lighthearted about the whole situation. Her husband is missing and she seems to be having fun. Jordan is not acting like a wife that had just filed a missing persons report on her husband. Her friends described it as the happiest they had seen Jordan in quite some time. One occasion, they said she was dancing around in a parking lot with ice cream and just smiling and having a great time dancing. Once police got involved, they obviously started asking questions and seeing what everyone knew. First up was Jordan. Jordan stated the night before on July 7th, her and Cody attended dinner with some friends. During the drive home, apparently Cody received a phone call that made him very upset. When they arrived home at 9:45 p.m., Jordan realized that her phone was almost dead and she had to go get a charger, which was not at their actual residence. Jordan then drove by herself from her house to another location to collect her charger. Jordan said while she was retrieving her phone charger from a different location around 9:45 p.m., she received a text message from Cody. The text message said that he was going for a drive with some friends from out of town. When Jordan arrived back at the house, she said that she saw a dark-colored car leaving the driveway. Thinking that Cody was in the car, she didn't think anything of it. She just went back into the house and went on with her night. In a second interview, police asked her to provide the text messages from Cody. She said that they frequently delete their text messages, so she didn't have it anymore. She also said in that second interview that she remembered they wanted to visit Glacier National Park because that was on their to-do list when they were leaving. Police now had their first lead and decided that they would start combing through Glacier National Park. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been to Glacier National Park. I've heard it's beautiful and I really want to go, so let me know in the comments if you have been there and if you liked it. Obviously, the word is out now that Cody is missing, so a ton of friends and family came over to Cody and Jordan's house just to search for some clues. They were combing through Cody's Facebook profile and asked Jordan if she actually knew any of his banking information because they wanted to see if he had made any transactions from July 7th until now, and that would maybe give them a clue as to where Cody was. After being bombarded with a ton of questions, Jordan became very frustrated. She then took her wedding ring off and threw it across the room to everyone's surprise. She was starting to get really frustrated and stopped cooperating with all the questions and helping with the search. This actually made her friends and family become really suspicious of her. She wasn't acting normal, and they were starting to catch on to that. Jordan's friend and maid of honor, Kimberly, actually started catching on to the weird behavior and started questioning Jordan about it. She started asking what was going on and why she was acting so weird. She also questioned why there were so many stories being told, why she couldn't keep her story straight. Again, Jordan didn't answer any questions and just became irritated. So Kimberly said that they were done talking until this whole thing was figured out. On July 10th, another friend of Cody and Jordan's actually went to the police station to talk to investigators. She said she overheard Jordan in church say that Cody fell off a cliff at Glacier National Park and is dead. She was really confused as to why Jordan would say that without actually knowing it, so she was kind of questioning what Jordan knew and why she was hiding everything. So she went to the police and told them everything that she heard. On July 11th, police decided to interview the maid of honor, Kimberly. In the interview, Kimberly said that her and Jordan were texting right after the wedding, and Jordan was saying that she was having second thoughts about being married to Cody. She said she also received a text message from Jordan the night that Cody went missing. In that text message, it said that she was going to confront Cody about their marriage that night. On July 7th, around 9 p.m., Jordan texted Kimberly and said, "Oh well, I'm about to talk to him." Kimberly then responded, "I'll pray for you guys." Jordan texted back and said, "But dead serious, if you don't hear from me at all again tonight, something happened." With this information, police are now becoming more and more suspicious of Jordan. It's now July 11th, and out of nowhere, Jordan tells her friend Hannah that she received an email from a guy named Tony the Carman. The email stated Cody accidentally fell off a cliff at Glacier National Park while hiking with his friends from out of state. There is no bother looking for Cody anymore. He is dead. This email almost sounds like a ransom email. It also just so happens to paint the perfect picture of what Jordan was telling investigators. You know, Cody was picked up by some friends from out of state, and he was dead at Glacier National Park, is what she basically muttered in church. It also tells the investigators, hey, you don't have to look for him anymore. He's dead. Just call off the search. Nothing to see here. It's like the worst drafted email ever. Oh, gosh. Hannah, after talking to Jordan and hearing about the email, urged Jordan to go to the police with all of that information. Jordan did just that. She went to the police and told them everything there was to know about the email. Hannah then came back and stated that it was super awkward having that conversation with Jordan because she didn't show any emotion. She was expressionless when she was reading the email. It was really awkward for Hannah to be in the room when Jordan was reading that email out loud and had literally no expression on her face. Hannah actually had a bigger reaction than Jordan did. Hannah started shaking and was like crying about everything, and Jordan was just sitting there emotionless. When Jordan brought the email to the police, they were immediately suspicious of it, particularly because the email gave instructions to call the police search off. No, we're not going to do that. At this point, the email was pretty much a dead giveaway that Jordan had something to do with this. However, these investigators are really smart. They went along with it, letting Jordan think that they were searching elsewhere. But what she didn't know was she was now the main suspect in Cody's disappearance. Police also noted the lack of emotion when Jordan brought this email to them. She needs to take some acting classes. It's now early afternoon on July 11th, and Jordan decides that she wants to create her own search party. This search party is made up of Hannah and a few other friends and family, and they decide that they're going to head out to Glacier National Park to look for Cody. Hannah described the drive to the park as super awkward again. She said Jordan had her hand out the window and was like waving it through the air. She was singing to music and laughing, like she had no care in the world that her husband was missing. She was actually having fun doing this whole thing. She needs to show some other emotion other than relief and happiness that her husband is gone. While at the park, Hannah and the search team decided that they were going to start pointing out areas that they should go search. To their surprise, Jordan didn't want to search any of those areas. She had her mind set on one specific area that she said that she just knew Cody was there. So they actually bypassed all of these other areas that would be likely places for Cody to have an accident and like fall off a cliff or something. And they went straight for this one area called the Loop. This loop was a pretty well-known pathway, and at the edge of it laid a 200-foot cliff. After bypassing all of these places they thought they should be searching and going straight to the Loop, everyone in the group was super confused and a little worried that Jordan was doing something crazy. Once they got to the Loop, Jordan led the group past a railing and at the cliff's edge pointed down and said, "There he is." The group is now in shock. They can literally look down the cliff and see Cody's body laying there. There is no way anyone would have found his body without knowing that he was there beforehand. Everyone's now in shock. They're crying, they're screaming, they're hugging each other. They called the police to get the search party there and recover Cody's body. Once the investigators got there and they started recovering Cody's body, they took everyone aside and started questioning them. Jordan told investigators that the Holy Spirit led her to that location. Police quickly were able to determine that Cody probably fell off the cliff head first due to all the scratches on his arms and the way that the injuries were on his head. His head took most of the damage from the fall, leading them to believe he fell head first off the cliff. Investigators now have the body they've been looking for. A few days later, during the funeral, everyone in attendance was crying, sobbing, weeping, shaking. Everyone except for Jordan. She was sitting in the front row of the funeral and was on her phone. She was texting, she was looking at Facebook, she was doing all of this crazy stuff. She didn't look up from her phone once. Everyone at the funeral became furious with her. She was very disrespectful. She could care less that her husband had just died, and she literally sat on her phone the whole service. People in attendance said that she seemed carefree and almost relieved that Cody was no longer in her life. Because of the way she acted at the funeral, everyone now is suspecting Jordan of having a more sinister role in Cody's death. Jordan, being the idiot that she is, was completely oblivious to the idea that people were suspicious of her. She now believes that since Cody's body was found, the funeral happened, and she really hasn't heard anything from the investigators, that she got away with everything. This whole thing is done, and she got away with it all. What she doesn't know is police actually determined the email that was sent to Jordan actually came from Jordan. Shocker. She actually created a fake email address and sent herself an email. Police also found video evidence that Jordan and Cody entered Glacier National Park the night of his disappearance. They were also able to triangulate Jordan's cell phone signal to Glacier National Park the night of the disappearance. Jordan's whole story now has more holes than Swiss cheese. Police later said that they actually had enough evidence to go arrest Jordan the day of the funeral, but they didn't want to do that to their friends and family. Police now start piecing together the true story. Cody didn't get picked up by his friends that night to go to Glacier National Park. Cody and Jordan actually went to the park together, and only Jordan left. Police brought Jordan down to the police station shortly after the funeral and officially arrested her for the murder of Cody Johnson. Jordan again showed absolutely no emotion when she was put in handcuffs. The emotion finally came when investigators told her all of the evidence they had on her. After she knew that she'd been caught and she's going to be going to prison, that's when she started crying. The tears she was crying were tears of regret. However, they weren't regret for killing her husband. They were regret for getting caught doing it. Jordan, knowing all the evidence that they had on her, soon confessed to the whole thing. She said that she was not happy with the marriage, and her and Cody were fighting the night that he disappeared. She said they decided to go to Glacier National Park. Jordan got scared and said she didn't want to go on that trail because it leads right up to the edge of the cliff. She said Cody stated that he could walk the trail with a blindfold on. As they were standing at the edge of the cliff, Cody urged his new wife to continue on. He gently grabbed her arm just to kind of lead her. Jordan said she didn't like that, so she quickly pulled her arm away and shoved Cody in the back. This shoved pushed him off the cliff's edge and 200 feet to his death. Although this is the story that was used to put Jordan behind bars for 30 years without the possibility of parole for second-degree murder, a lot of people speculate that this isn't the full story. What most people don't know is that there was a blindfold found on Cody's body at the bottom of the cliff. Lead investigators believe that Jordan may have blindfolded Cody as part of a sex game and led him to the edge of the cliff before shoving him off. Some of Cody's friends that were with him the day of his death said that he was super excited because Jordan said she had a surprise for him when she got home. As stated before, most of their friends and family don't think Cody and Jordan ever consummated their marriage. So, Cody told his friends that he believed the surprise was that Jordan was finally going to have sex with him that night. Of course, investigators actually did bring up this theory to Jordan, and she denied the whole thing. Without proof of this theory, they weren't able to use it in court. This made the difference between first-degree murder and second-degree murder. If you don't know, first-degree murder, you have to prove that the murder was premeditated, meaning that you had to plan out that you were going to murder that person. If investigators were able to prove that Jordan actually made the plan to kill Cody beforehand, they would have been able to charge her with first-degree murder, which actually comes with an automatic life sentence. Since they weren't able to prove that the murder was premeditated, they had to stick with second-degree murder, which comes with substantially less time, obviously. She got 30 years. This blindfold theory still remains one of the main theories that the investigators believe actually happened. However, the true story only lies with Jordan right now. Thank you everybody for watching. That was my story today. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up on this video. If you did enjoy it, if you stuck around until the end here, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I would love if you subscribe to my page. It really helps me out. Like this video. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers here as fast as possible. I would love to continue to do these videos, but they obviously do take a lot of time to produce. So getting to that 1,000 subscriber mark really helps out YouTube creators. Other than that, I hope you all have an amazing Christmas and a happy New Year. I will probably not be posting any videos until after the first of the year. So have a Merry Christmas and bye everybody.